Ever since your escapade in the Wild Stretch, ever since you took a ship from Bleakbrook to the other side of the peninsula, you've been hitchhiking. Hitchhiking east. You don't have much gold to your name, so you've been living off of your own endurance and the kindness of strangers. And after a long day of walking, as the sun begins to dip below the horizon, you see a tree on a hill in a clearing. And it looks like a comfortable place to stop and rest for the rest of your journey. Go ahead and unblindfold, and when you do, describe to us your character. Marco, you may unblindfold too.
So Tyrael's a elf that was um, so Tyrael's an elf that was born in a small town, northern part of the. She was born to two farmers who loved her very much, but were very humble in their ways. Lived pretty normal farmer lives. At a young age, she discovered that she loved to hunt. And when she was 14, she was allowed to go on a hunting adventure. The local town. She instantly fell in love with it. Loved everything about it, from the preparing to study of the creature that she was hunting to the final shot that she took when she finally killed one of the creatures she was searching after. Unfortunately, when she was 21, both her parents died, and she decided that she was going to pursue what she loved, which was hunting creatures and beasts and monsters. So for the next 27 years of her life, she traveled around the world, hunted all sorts of creatures of different sorts, traveling all the way into Brimstone in the upper part of the continent to hunt ice trolls, down into Caria to hunt mud monsters. When she turned 28, she found herself in the northern forest of Edmarch, hunting dryads, whose blood is highly sought after by more of the shady sort. When she returned to Edmarch, she heard a rumor of an archmage of Needlepoint who had created a college of mystic arts. Tyrael knew that she had limited time or limited skills to continue to hunt creatures, and if she wanted to hunt bigger and better game, that she would need to expand her skills. So off she marched. Off she took a boat from Bleakwook to Bannerton in search of information about this new school of mystic arts.
Uriel is nearing the end of her journey to Bannerton, but now she stands at the foot of the hill. So what does she do?
What time of day is it?
It is sunset.
Is the city within eyeshot or close enough that I can hear it or see it?
Unfortunately, it's a ways down the beaten path and too far away to hear, and certainly too far away to see, as there's countless trees lining the path.
Sunset, then I think I'm gonna take a look around me to see if there's any dangers in sight.
Okay, I would say make a perception roll.
+2. Oh, that's a natural one. That's lovely.
It's a
Natural
natural one.
one.
Oh my
Fun
god,
way to kick
Starting
off
off
the campaign.
strong.
that is beautiful.
Tyrael, you've been walking all day. Your legs are killing you, and as you're reaching, as you're nearing the steepest section of this hill, you crane your neck and you look all around, and you feel, as you blink, you see shadows moving in the trees. Or perhaps your eyes are playing tricks on you?
I think I'm gonna climb the tree and like sit on one of the larger tree trunks and spend the night there so that I'm refreshed but out of harm's way from a creature that would like to attack me.
Okay. Tyrael moves to the base of the tree, and I'd say make an athletics roll.
Okay, come on. Better than a 1. A 9.
A 9? You find that you are very weary from your travels, and it is extremely difficult to force yourself up this tree. But after a while, you start to get your footing, and you start making your way up the tree, when suddenly you hear a sound behind you as you're making your way up. Sound of footsteps. Someone perhaps was on your trail. You turn, you see a gentleman climbing up the hill right in your path, and he stops and he lifts the brim of his hat and he says, "Oi, what you doing there?"
I'm just climbing the tree so that I can sleep for the night. It's getting dark out and I prefer not to be on the ground.
Roddy, you ever climbed a tree in your life?
I've been traveling for a long time and I'm very tired. Excuse my lack of finesse.
You see, he does just as you did. He turns and surveys the clearing, but nothing seems to spook him. He takes a step closer, but he hesitates. Perhaps you'd like a hand?
I think Ariel stops and thinks for a sec, and part of her like doesn't want to like undignify herself more than she already is. But then part of her's like, I am so exhausted at this point. I just don't care that much. Like it's not enough of an embarrassment to stop. So I think Tyrael turns and looks at the gentleman and goes, "That would be lovely."
You watch as he swaggers up. He doesn't seem to have any sort of judgment to you for making this choice. He simply seems like he earnestly wants to help. And without any hesitation, he walks up underneath you and he rolls up his sleeves and he takes both of his hands and he pushes up under the bottom of your feet to get you high enough to grab onto the branch you were seeking. Would you like to continue climbing?
Yes.
All right. With his help, you're able to wrap your arms around the branch that you wanted to climb onto and pull yourself up into a nice, comfortable position.
Thank you, sir.
Takes a step back and he smacks his hands together, gloved, of course. You're
May
very
I
welcome.
may I know the name of my savior?
Oh, the name's Sir Morthaniel Bixbury. And what is your name?
My name is Tyrael.
Tyrael, eh?
Are you a local of the town of Bannerton?
Wouldn't call myself a local, per se. I hail from Kagera. Ever heard of it?
Is this a place that I would have heard of?
I think you would have heard tell of it in your journey through the Wild Stretch. You never would have ventured there because it would have required another trip across water, as it's it's separated from the main continent. But it's a perhaps the most prominent city spoken of
To
in
pull
the
up
Wild Stretch. I know you don't usually see many humans coming from a beast city like Kagera, but we exist, I assure you.
I think. Haven't I been there? Okay,
Hmm.
I have been.
Did you perhaps go there to battle the mud methods?
Yes, I did.
That's
I
right.
was trying to. I didn't have the map pulled up, which was foully of me. So,
No
or
worries.
folly, of whatever the word is. Okay. Yes, I have heard of Kevgera. I've been there once a long time ago. It must have been I don't know, 15 years at this point.
Ooh. Well, might I say you look good for your age?
Thank you.
Although I suppose that's a quality most of your people have.
You're awfully far away from home.
Yes, well, perhaps I'll tell you where I'm headed if you, allow me to seek refuge in this tree with you tonight.
Can I make an insight check on this guy to see if like he has any ill intentions or any like if he's given off any negative vibes or anything like
Absolutely, go for it.
that? Yeah, +2. Come on, better than an 8. 15. I'll take it.
15. As you try to get an assessment of perhaps any ill intention from Sir Nathaniel Bixbury, you actually find that he reminds you a lot of some of the men you grew up with in Timberwick. Of course, he's not an elf, but he has that sort of like sense of he has a strong sense of self, and he has scars and muscle. Not much of it, but enough to show that he's worked all his life, and he takes a lot of pride in what he does. And judging by what he has on, armor, studded armor, not unlike yourself, also a bow around his back and a sword at his side, he seems to be a traveling fighter of some kind. But you don't sense that he has any ill intention. You actually would probably assume that this guy wouldn't hurt a fly despite what he's wearing.
Sure, I would love the company. It's been a long trip and one without many people to talk to.
Thank you very much. He walks up to the base of the tree where you were climbing, and he pulls out his blade and he sort of stabs it into the base of the tree, and then he uses the weight to propel himself onto a different branch. And then he lays his back against the trunk of the tree and he crosses his legs and dangles them off the edge of the tree. Oh, nice to get off my feet for a change.
So where are you headed? So far away from home.
Well, to be honest with you, I've been chasing rumors. They say there's this fella all the way down in Needle Point, and he wants to teach the common folk how to master the mystic arts. I know it's scandalous to even think, but I think it's worth checking out.
Well, as it happens to be, I have come for the exact same thing.
No. You're tugging on my tail.
I am not.
Huh. That's what a lovely coincidence.
How, like, frequently used is magic outside of, the Harborlands? Like, in the Empire, is it more common or less common?
It's less common in the Empire. In the Empire, there's a place in the city of Scrollhaven called the Spire, where wizards train with magic, but it's extremely gate kept, and only they are allowed to do it. Otherwise, it's completely outlawed.
So, like, a commoner like me probably wouldn't have much experience with it, outside
No,
of what
in
I've just picked up, like, naturally.
in fact, where you come from, it's generally frowned upon.
Okay. Are you looking to learn magic yourself, or are just curious about the rumors?
I don't really know, to be honest. Don't want to get my hopes up, you know? Maybe if they're true, but I can't see that I'd ever be, a spellcaster.
I myself know a bit of magic, not much, but when the time comes for a fight, it comes in handy.
Hey, what if we go to Needlepoint together, and maybe on the road, you can show me a little bit of the magic so I know what to expect when we get there, if the rumors are true, and I can help you get up a few more trees if you need it.
I don't often travel with other people. I spend weeks inside of the forest, so maybe for once a traveling companion would not be the worst in the world.
So we have a deal.
Sounds fair to me. Is he close enough for me to shake his hand? Like
Absolutely, you could outstretch your hand to him.
I'm gonna outstretch my hand, offer it as it's a hand.
With enthusiasm, you catch his gloved hand, and he gives you a firm handshake. When he pulls back, he puts both of his hands behind his head and he relaxes against the tree. Now, hope you wouldn't be offended if I got some shut-eye.
Was thinking the exact same thing myself.
Good night, Tyrael.
Good night, sir. I lean back against the tree and close my eye. Attempt to fall asleep.
Blindfold. Tyrael, as you drift off to sleep, you're comforted by the soft feeling of grass against your face. When you open your eyes, you find you're no longer in the tree. And there's a light that's trying to breach your eyelids. A dancing light. Unblindfold.
We did.
Yep, anytime I say unblindfold, that's you as well. Tyrael, you awake to see the leaves of the tree and the branches you were resting on have disappeared. And in its place, a sort of bark construct watches you with glowing eyes, a burning torch in hand.
Do I see the traveler that assisted me?
He is nowhere to be found.
Hello?
Greetings, Tyrael.
Where am I?
You are in the Mother's Woods. Just as you have always been.
I'm gonna, like, do a 360. Look at my surroundings. See. Like, what can I see around me?
You remain in the same place, on the hill in the clearing, surrounded by trees. And in the place where you once saw shadows moving between the tree line, you instead see the trees themselves alit with a glow that appears to be a set of eyes on each one, watching, not unlike this creature.
Why am I here?
That is what I wish to ask you. Not so much why you are here, but why. Why you defile my sisters.
Sisters. As I say that, I feel down into the part of my belt where I probably keep the vials. Feel them. Are you talking about the dryads?
Desecration. That is of what I speak. Who are you that you seek to bleed them and wander these woods like you are a predator?
I was simply hunting them, as all things get hunted. I meant no personal offense or prejudice against them. They were simply my job that I was doing.
You are wrong, Tyrael. Not all things get hunted. You will come to find that true. I have seen it, felt it, heard it on the wind, just as I heard your name on the wind.
I'm sorry if I offended you in any way. I did not intend to do so.
I am not offended, but I could not pass up the opportunity to look you in the eyes and pass on this warning. You must ask yourself, do you fear to bleed? You see the bark on the tree sort of unnaturally elongate where his neck would be if he were humanoid, and his head sort of falls sideways out of the tree and cocks to the side as if he's waiting for a response.
Do I fear to bleed?
Do you fear to bleed?
I'm not sure how to answer that. I would say that I fear death, if that's what you're implying, as much as the next person does, and perhaps a bit more because I'm an elf, but I wouldn't say particularly I fear to bleed.
Oh, he lets out this groan as if he's suddenly in pain, and his orc jaw goes slack, and you see this green ooze start to pour out of his mouth. Oh, oh. Not death. No. Death comes for us all. But to bleed, that is another beast entirely. I seek not to punish you. That is for another. I only seek to keep you talking. That's good enough for me.
Do I have any idea what this creature would be? Like, have I ever interacted or heard of anything of what this thing could be?
Make a nature roll.
That is a dirty 23.
When you look at this creature, you are unmistakably reminded of the dryads you hunted, but this one is different. Dryads you've known to take on a more feminine appearing nature and allure people towards them, sort of like sirens in the sea. But this creature is something else entirely, and perhaps a relative of the dryads? Far more ancient looking, you know that.
I'm gonna try to pinch myself to wake myself up, because I think I'm in a dream right now.
You reach down, you pinch yourself. And the light of his torch goes out. Blindfold. Tyrael, you open your eyes and you're greeted by the bright light of day. Unblindfold. As you open your eyes, you find yourself staring up at the canopy of leaves above you. There's also a man standing over the gentleman you were sharing the night with, and he seems to be tying his hands behind his back.
Have I been tied up at all? Or am I just laying there?
You are just lying there.
I sit up and stand up, look over at the guy tying up. How do you say that dude's first name? Morthaniel?
Morthaniel.
I thought Marthaniel. What is going on here?
The gentleman who is kneeling over him continues tying the knot. even as you say this. And he turns. And he greets you, his cape billowing in the breeze. Greetings, my lady. He did not hurt you, did he?
What has this man done for you to tie him up?
You do not know him?
We met not long ago last night.
Then my intuition was correct. You are not one of his accomplices. He steps aside, he straightens out his back. It's not a matter of what he's done, it's a matter of who he's done it to. I am merely here to collect a bounty. I'm not interested in you.
I would like you to answer my question, please.
He kneels down and he picks up Sir Nathaniel bridal style. My lady, that is the problem. I certainly have no clue what he's done, but it is not my job to ask. There's a bounty on his head.
Is Nathaniel's mouth like bound as well? Like, can he talk?
His mouth is loosely bound. There seems to be some sort of wet cloth wrapped around his mouth, and that seems to have led to him being knocked out cold.
Is there another guy in the wagon, like the photo suggests?
Yes, there is a decrepit-looking hooded figure hunched over, pulling the horses.
Can I... I'm gonna, like, put my hands on my axe, on my hatchet on my side, in, like, a way that I can draw it quickly if I need to, in a way that he understands that I'm, like, not attacking, but I am ready to do so if it would come to that. And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna need a little bit more explanation than that. This man has shown me nothing but kindness so far from what I have seen, and I am not ready to just let him go with you.
The man, you can't see his expression well beneath the brim of his extremely large hat. But the way his falling beard seems to swish side to side insinuates to you that he is contemplating your words carefully. I can see where your confusion is coming from. If you would allow me to reach into my jacket, I can show you the order for capture.
Can I, like, if I can't see much of his expression, but can I tell from his voice if he's actually just reaching into his pocket to show me that, or if he's reaching for a weapon?
I'd say you're going off of faith right here.
I'm gonna cautiously nod while still having my hand on my axe.
The man, very trepidatiously, kneels and sets Nathaniel softly in the grass on the edge of the hill. Then he reaches into his buttoned jacket, his tunic, and you hear the rustling of parchments as he seems to search for the right one.
I wait for him to pull out what he's... How is Nathaniel doing right now? Like, is he, like, looking over at me, asking to help, or is he unconscious?
He is completely unconscious.
Okay.
Permission to approach, and he flashes a piece of parchment.
I nod forward, still in a pretty similar stance as before.
He meets you in the center, and then he offers out the order for capture.
I grab it and open it up.
Taking a look at this, it's a pretty standard order for capture that you've seen.
Does it say who ordered the capture?
It does detail that this bounty was placed by the Sunrise Rebels.
Those were the ones that are fighting against the new... I'm just gonna ask, who are the Sunrise Rebels?
The Sunrise Rebels are my employers, the harbor masters of the Harborlands.
They're the new rulers of these lands, is that correct?
That is correct.
Where are you headed to with this band?
Back to Merkinstead for sure. He'll have to stand trial or face whatever it is he's done. If... You know, I certainly think that speculation is useless, but if you'd like me to speculate, I believe his imprisonment has something to do with his blatant affiliation with mystic wrongdoings down in Needlepoint.
Do you mind if I speak to him before you take him away?
I don't think he'll be waking up anytime soon, unfortunately. My alchemist made sure of that.
Are you stopping in Bannerton before you leave to Merkinstead?
He turns and he seems to familiarize himself with the area. Well, I believe it's along the path. I might stop off.
Do you mind if I catch a ride in hopes that he wakes up before you leave from Bannerton, if it is on the way? I won't be at all a bother.
Fine, but you must ride in the back.
That's fine with me.
Will you be keeping that? He looks at the order for capture.
I read it one more time to make sure there was anything that I missed. A small detail. Something along those.
As you read it over, it's a very vague order for capture for Sir Nathaniel Bixbury, made out by the Sunrise Rebels. The only thing worth noting is that there's a drawing of him that is shockingly true to life, and he has a big crooked grin in the drawing.
I'm gonna hand the letter back to large hatted man and then head towards the back of the carriage. Get in.
He tucks it back into his tunic and then picks up Sir Nathaniel. Places him on his back and gestures for you to climb in.
Are you gonna lock the back part of the carriage? I would prefer if you didn't.
Well, what if he does wake up? Alchemists make mistakes all the time.
I promise you, before I find out my information, I will not be letting him get away. Can I roll persuasion to try to convince him that to tell him to make sure that he understands that I really do not want him to escape and that I will stop him from trying to get out.
Sure, make a persuasion roll.
Oh god. I'm gonna go horribly. Our persuasion's -2. Okay, come on. Come on. Oh god. Unnatural one.
He looks at you, and he slams the cage shut, and he clicks the lock on there. Nope. If you want to dangle off the back, you're welcome to, but I'm not risking a bounty over this. And he steps around.
I'm gonna... Okay, so how is the cart put together? Like, are the wheels connected like woodenly, and like how's the like cage? Like is the cage made of wood? Is everything just made of wood?
The wheels are wood and they're connected to a wooden base, but the cage is sat on top of the wooden base and sort of like mounted to it, and it's made of metal. Iron bars, most likely, or steel.
Is there any part of the cart that I see that's like already slightly damaged or not in the best of shape, or like... Yes.
I'd say this whole thing is looking pretty rickety. It has to be if it's journeyed all the way here from Needlepoint.
I'm gonna swing around here and draw my bow and point it at the guy with the hat.
He turns and looks at you.
I'm sorry for this, but I really do just want answers. I have no problem with you capturing him, I am not that attached, but I would like to know what is going on. He has been nothing but kind to me so far, and I would like answers, so we can do this one of two ways. One is that you wait for him to wake up, so that I can get my answers, and then you can be on your merry way. Or two is I put this arrow through your head, and you die right here and now.
If you want to know what he did so badly, why don't you take it up with the people who put the bounty out on him?
Now that would be great and all, but that would require traveling to Merkstead, which I do not plan on doing currently. I am planning to stop at Bannerton and then make my way elsewhere.
The Sunrise Rebels are all over the Harborlands, darling. Why you threatening me about it?
Because you are currently the one in my way of finding out the information that I want. So I'm going to ask you again, nicely, to please wait until he wakes up, or for me to travel along in the back to when you get to Bannerstead without the lock on.
Let's hope you're quick with that bow. He puts his hand on the shoulder of the gentleman beside him and he says, "Yeah," and the horses start to gallop. Would you like to fire?
I think I'm going to attempt to fire at one of the horses.
Okay.
And hit one of the horses so that it dies and the cart like tumbles over.
Okay, make a dexterity roll.
God, what's my dex at? It's plus. Also, I have Elven accuracy or Elven shot or whatever it is. I forget exactly.
Precise bow.
Elven accuracy as my race trait. Does that affect my rolls at all, or is that just take into account?
It mostly applies to inconsequential moments. So, like, not really this.
Okay, so like if I'm trying to shoot an apple out of a tree or something.
Something like that would, yeah.
Okay. Come on. Come on. Oh god. 8.
An 8, you knock an arrow and you fire it, and it whizzes between the two horses as they take off. You want to try again?
Yes, I'm gonna try to attempt one more time. Do I see where the arrow goes?
The arrow landed somewhere in the breeze to the south.
Okay. I'm gonna knock another arrow and aim for the
Alright, make another dexterity roll.
horses again. Okay, come on. 11.
11. You fire another arrow, and you hear the thud of the impact against the wood of the wheel of the cart. But then the 3 disappear onto the trail.
I'm gonna go pick up. Is the first arrow that I fired like within close enough distance for me to go pick up?
You could go look for it. It probably didn't end up too far. Would you like to go look for the arrow and then head on the path to Bannerton?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. You get that arrow back, but dock yourself 1 for
Yes, I did.
the cage. Perfect. All right, blindfold.